Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
All right, so today we've got a great show. This is definitely one that you want to invite your friends to. If they're an Amazon seller, get them to listen to this. This is something that is requested all the time. We're going to be talking about product launch and opportunity, finding those opportunities. And today we're going to be talking to the Director of Training, the Chief Evangelist of Helium 10. Our guest helps hundreds of thousands, yes, hundreds of thousands of Amazon sellers achieve their business dreams. He's launched and optimized more than 400 products, and so he knows a little bit about how to do this thing. And today, he teaches people how to succeed on Amazon through his Helium 10 training videos, the Serious Seller podcast, and exclusive elite workshops. Our returning guest is Bradley Sutton. But before we get there, this episode is sponsored by Ahrefs Webmaster Tools. Amazon sellers are busy. Between managing your team, optimizing your listing, and those nasty AMZ, Amazon emails, how are you supposed to find time to run your website, let alone make it SEO optimized? Ahrefs is here to help. With their new, very advanced and easy to use free SEO tool, they can scan your site, prioritize precisely what you need to fix to improve your search results. All the while, you can sit back, relax, and enjoy Lunch with Norm. So check out Ahrefs Webmaster Tools at ahrefs.com/AWT. That's ahrefs.com/AWT. Now, where's Boy Wonder?
Hello, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, sir.
Yes, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I am out of quarantine.
Hey, freedom.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Welcome everyone. We already got a ton of people on. Welcome Manny, Daniel, Amazon Elite, Andrew, Jessica Rabbit, Simon. Thanks for joining in. How are you guys doing? Let us know in the comments. Also, if you have any questions about today's show with Bradley or Norm, just throw them over into the comments section. We'd love to know. Do you have any plans for the weekend?
I don't even have to talk today. It's just, and here's Bradley Sutton. And so that's it. I sit back, my video goes off, and let him take it.
A nice, easy Friday for you.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So if you're new to the show, we start off by smashing those like buttons. Also, we have an incredible prize today. I think you guys are going to be very excited about this. But if you're new and you don't know where to watch other episodes of the podcast, you can go to our YouTube channel that has all of our episodes. It's just Norman Farrar, or search Lunch with Norman, you'll be able to find it. It's got all 178 episodes there. Also, if you're interested in our membership program, we have that as well. That's where you can get guest lessons, social media discussions with me, Amazon and e-commerce discussions with Norm, and you get to have a really tight-knit, awesome community. And Simon's merch just came in from the Patreon too, so he sent me a picture about that, so that's awesome.
Oh, cool.
But anyways, that's it from me. We can just jump right into the show, and yeah.
Okay, good job, Kels.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. See, Friday, I'm happy. I give you a little round of applause. All right, so if you do have any questions, throw them over in the comment area. And other than that, sit back, relax, grab that cup of coffee, and enjoy the episode. Welcome, Bradley.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, sir, world traveler.
I'm trying to make up for a year and a half of no traveling in just a couple weeks here.
Yeah, you were all over the globe, right? You were like, I saw you posting in Maldives, which made sense, but all of a sudden you were everywhere.
Yeah, I try and get a lot of bang for my buck when I travel, but I'm also on one of those what do you call like a mileage run. So like I'm doing a lot of extra stops too. Rich Goldstein, one of our mutual friends here. He's been trying to teach me in the ways of the Force, or the ways of the traveler, where you get this like status. So I'm like on this run where I'm trying to stop as many places and maximize the miles so I can get some for the first time some like United Airlines status for next year.
Oh, nice. Oh, so I'm kind of curious. I know that Tim, he travels on American.
Yeah.
You're an United fan.
Yep.
All right, sir. And I'm over on Delta. So anyways, yeah, I don't even know why we're talking about that, but that's just a whole other rabbit hole. We got to do, I mean, if you are listening and you do go to a lot of these events, what Bradley is talking about is that there are lots of ways that you can leverage your points or leverage travel with credit cards and everything, which will help pay for these events in the long run. So just kind of keep that in mind. We might even do a show on that one day.
But just a quick tip for everybody.
All right.
If you want to get started, the best way, again, I'm not rich. You know, Helium 10's a huge company, but it's not like I have $1 million salary or something. But
like
it seems
rich.
like it maybe sometimes because, you know, when I'm going to Maldives and staying $2,500 a night hotels, I'm not paying for this, guys. It's free. Helium 10's not paying for it. It's free. So it's all miles that I use. And one of the ways is if once you get to a certain level on Amazon, you start this from day zero, is by default, your PPC gets taken out of your earnings from Amazon. So your disbursement. So like, let's say you after the Amazon fees and everything, you're going to get $10,000 after 2 weeks, and you spent $1,500 on PPC. Well, instead of $10,000, you get $8,500. They just take it out of your disbursement, what's deposited into your bank. So what you should do from day one, even if you're a brand new seller, you're not making $10,000, you're making $1,000 or something, is go into your Amazon Seller Central settings and charge your PPC to a credit card. And then the ones that I use, like for that Maldives trip, is I have two main credit cards I use for all my expenses. And one of them is the Hilton Honors American Express. That's how I can stay in the Maldives for free instead of $2,500 a night. And then the other one I use is Chase Sapphire. And that's what kind of covers my my plane ticket. So Amazon sellers, if you want to get a head start on mileage runs, that's the easiest way, because you know some of y'all are spending thousands and thousands of dollars on PPC, and instead of just giving that to Mr. Bezos, you know, make that PPC spendings actually work for you by putting it on credit cards that give you travel points.
And that is a great tip. One of the other things, sorry, I've got a little bit of asthma going on. I'm going to try to hit that mute button, but I apologize if I cough in your ear, Bradley.
No worries.
But one of the other things to look at when you're looking at credit cards is don't be afraid to pay an annual fee. Mm-hmm. Usually the cards that have the annual fees have a much better point system. So even if you're looking at $100 or in some cases a few $100s, it's well worth it if you are putting PPC or anything on it, and choose the right one. Like if you, like you were saying, depending on what you're doing, is it going to be a Marriott or is it going to be a Hilton card? Sapphire Chase, I've heard overall is a incredible. I don't have Sapphire Chase. I'm a Canadian. It's tough for me to get that, but I heard that that's probably one of the best cards out there right now for points.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other benefits other than travel for some of these credit cards, and again, that affect entrepreneurs, especially if you guys go to Amazon conferences. You know, we were just at the Prosper show. It's like I get 15% off of Uber and 15% off of DoorDash, and just it pays for my my Clear and my global entry. So there's all these things that you know cost hundreds of dollars that it actually saves you on.
Right. Okay, so now that we've gone down that rabbit hole, for those of us who don't know you, can you just give us a brief background about who you are, what you do?
Sure. So I'm the director of training and chief evangelist here at Helium 10, and I've been here for about 3 years. Before then, I was a consultant for Amazon sellers, and so I would you know help launch products and optimize listings and you know help with keyword research. And I launched over 400 products before my days at Helium 10. I used Helium 10. I used a bunch of other tools, but then I started shifting over to Helium 10 when I found out about it, and then the founders of Helium 10, Manny Coates and Guillermo Puyol, they saw this loudmouth guy in Facebook groups and stuff like, who is this guy who's talking about Helium 10 all the time? I wasn't like an affiliate or anything. I wasn't getting any money, but I loved it. And so they brought me in, and I've had a lot of different roles here at Helium 10. And since I started here, I stopped doing consulting, but I started launching, you know, case study products and my own products because as I always say, it's really, really hard to be in the education space, I guess, here at Amazon. if you're not in the game, because
Right.
things change on Amazon so much. So I'm like, I have to keep my knowledge fresh. I'm not consulting anymore. I got, I can't base my knowledge on what was working in 2016. So I currently, sell on Amazon and over $1 million a year. And that helps keep my knowledge fresh. And I just love meeting people out there in the Amazon space and running experiments and failing. I fail a lot, that's fine. I'm not selling on Amazon to make money, Healing Intent's my day job. So that gives me some space to do a lot of experiments and hopefully, warn people about what, failed for me, that other people don't have to fail themselves. So it's just, I really love what I do. So it's kind of like a lifetime dream job, I guess you could say. And so it's great to come on shows like this and share my knowledge and learn from others as well.
There's this thing about no fear, just not fearing the failure that allows you to succeed. If you know that there's failure that's going to happen, all right, that's just, if you accept it, then I find that you can really go out there and get in the game. So we know that there's going to be some failures, but it's a learning, it's evolving, and then you move forward.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
Don't let a failure stop you if you're out there. I've done it 1,000,000 times. Bradley's done it 1,000,000 times. Now you have an incredible giveaway today. I didn't know until about 2 seconds before we got on, but why don't you tell everybody about the giveaway?
Yeah, well, I just said I love meeting people out there. And so I thought it'd be great to be able to do a one-on-one with somebody, like kind of like a ask me anything, let me help you optimize your listing. Let me help you do some research. Let me help you validate some products. Anything you want. Let me teach you how to do travel hacking, whatever you want. We're going to have a one-on-one, just you and me on a Zoom call, and we'll get that going.
Now, you said that was for the full weekend?
For the full weekend, yeah. No, in the Maldives.
Okay, all right, good.
No, probably 30 minutes. I think
30 minutes is great.
Fair.
Okay, so if you're interested in meeting with Bradley on a one-on-one, which is going to be awesome, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. If you want a second chance to enter, just tag 2 people, either in the conversation or outside of the conversation. All right, let's get into this. One of my favorite subjects, it's product opportunity, product validation. You have done it 1,000,000 times on your own with Project X, the Maldives. Where do you even want to start with this? Do you want to start on the newer project, the Maldives, and talk about how you do that?
Yeah. So, what Norm was talking about here, and the reason why I go to not the main reason, but one of the reasons I go to Maldives is we came up with this kind of like strategy called the Maldives honeymoon launch. And so whenever somebody thinks about launch strategies or honeymoon period, they're mainly focused on that, few months time, or 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, a lot of debate on how long it lasts, of when you first launch a product on Amazon and you're trying to get to page 1 and the different things you do to help you on your journey. However, with this strategy, it's not, even though we call it the Maldives honeymoon launch, it's not just about when you actually launch, but it actually starts, or it can start, doesn't have to, it can start in the product research stage. And so a lot of times, what can make or break your launch is how competitive it is, or how much money you have to put in to get to page 1, whatever your strategy is, whether it's only PPC, whether it's organic, whether it's social media traffic, whether it's search, find, buy, Facebook ads, whatever your methodology is on going to page 1, this plays a role into how much money you have to put into it. And so what I do is, even in the product research, I'm looking at certain factors of the niche. And probably the main factor I'm looking at as part of this strategy is how many listings are on page 1 that have the main keyword or one of these sub keywords in the title, not just in the title, like a word here and a word here in the middle and a word at the end of the title, but in phrase form. And this has a direct correlation with how easy or difficult it is to get to page 1. So the example I always use is, collagen peptides. You type in collagen peptides on Amazon, you get your typical 50 results. If you were to do a search on that page of how many people have collagen peptides in the title, it varies, depending on who's on page 1, but it's between usually 30 to 35, 40 out of those 50 listings all have somewhere in the title collagen peptides. So that means that, hey, you're going to try and launch for collagen peptides, regardless of that they have 10,000 reviews and some stuff that I always talk about. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to get there and stay there. Now you take, some other, random keyword like I just have this here, a bamboo kitchen knife or something like that. That's not like a normal thing. Now, I'm not saying guys go sell bamboo kitchen knife. There obviously has to be some searches there, but that word bamboo kitchen knife, I'd be shocked if there was more than like 4 or 5 listings in all of Amazon with that in the title, let alone on page 1 of that. So if I wanted to get on page 1 for bamboo kitchen knife, it would be simple, completely simple to do that. Like almost no money it would take to get there. And the reason is because Amazon these days puts a very high value, especially at the beginning of an Amazon listings life, on if you have that keyword in the phrase, it's gonna make it a lot more difficult or a lot more easy for you to get there on page 1.
So keyword phrase, not just a single keyword.
Exactly.
Correct? Okay.
Yep. So that's the main thing. And then actually we launched something that I think almost nobody knows about, because we didn't make a big announcement of it. I talked about it in a podcast, like I bet I buried it way deep in a podcast 2 weeks ago, was that, if for you Helium 10 users out there, if you're using Cerebro or Magnet and you're doing any kind of search, we're going to actually, there's a brand new column called, I think it's called title density or something like that. Well, where you can actually see the last time we checked how many listings on page 1 for that search term that you have there have that in the title. So those are keyword research tools. People usually use that to find keywords for listings, but you can almost reverse use it as a product research tool. You could start going down these rabbit trails here and then look for keywords with high search volume. And Kevin King talks about this. He talks about this method mainly with using brand analytics. Mm-hmm. But now if you're using Helium 10, you can just start going down these rabbit holes, type in a seed keyword, and then sort it by hey, show me a keyword that has maybe 5,000 searches, but less than 5 people have that keyword phrase in the title. And then now your keyword research tool just became a product research tool.
Interesting. I love that idea. I had no idea that was going to be coming out. You buried it well. But and that's so important because there's so many really good quality keywords out there. I'll give you an example. So I sell bully sticks. Kevin sells bully sticks. And one of the terms, like if you go after bully sticks or organic bully sticks, natural bully sticks, whatever it's going to be, highly, highly, highly competitive. But all of a sudden the word pizzle comes up and you've got bull pizzle. Now you've got just a few thousand people, maybe it's 3,000 searches a month, and you can easily rank for those keywords. It's simple. Now, what about longer tail keywords? So let's say that you take any of the examples that you just gave, and you did a search and you use your advanced tool, and now you've got collagen peptides XYZ, like 3 or 4 keywords in a row. So it turns into more of a long tail keyword, right? And you see that exact long tail is not used, but it has higher search volume. Can you use that in exchange for your primary?
Yeah. So I like when I talk about the keywords, I always try and find the highest search volume one that is super relevant to my product. That
Mm-hmm.
being said, once I determine that one, then I do look at those long tail keywords and I'm launching for those at the same time and trying to actually incorporate it in the title as well. So again, just using the collagen using the collagen peptides as an example, like, okay, maybe collagen peptides is my main word, but then using either Magnet or Cerebro, I'm like, all right, what are the longer tail keywords that actually can go along with this word? So like sometimes I might have hydrolyzed collagen peptides might be a longer tail word. I have collagen peptides, for men, all right, or super hydrolyzed collagen peptides. I just mentioned 4 keywords, but guess what? If I put in my title super hydrogen collagen peptides powder for men, literally right there is 7 keywords in there that could have significant search volume, but I put it all in one phrase. And so on Amazon is you don't need to put commas or dashes or other punctuations there for Amazon to recognize it as a keyword in phrase form. Literally, I have 6-7 keywords right there in phrase form, some short tail, some long tail. And then what happens is I put all those in my title. And guys, don't keyword stuff. Don't like put a bunch of random things and just like think that Amazon's gonna love that, or sell, or buyers are gonna love that. No, but if you can get long tail keywords with that seed keyword in phrase form, then when you launch on all of those, and you only have to do less than you normally would do if you're doing it one by one. You can't stack it all up and say, there's something in Helium 10 we have that's called the CPR number that tells you, hey, how many units you have to sell after a search for a keyword. You can't just say, all right, hey, I'm going to now divide it by 4 since I have 4 keywords. It's not that much that you can take it down, but you can usually take it down like 20%, whatever that number is, if you're doing multiple ones at the same time to get more bang for your buck.
So I know we might be skipping ahead a little bit, but the CPR, we use that all the time. We try to find giveaways. We try to find ways that we can use that. Whether it's in an Amazon promotion, we might be able to try some specialized rebate of some sort. But how do you use it? So now that you see it and you've got that keyword's got to have 150 units for collagen peptides, XYZ, or it might be a longer tail. So collagen peptides might be 150, which would be way more than that. And then the longer tail keywords, which I call primary long tails, they might be 16 units, 28 units, 48 units. Do you kind of try to target each one of those, or are you just targeting collagen peptides?
I always do multiple. So that exact thing I just mentioned is something about the multiple phrases in the title is what I try and do. I never ever launch just on one main keyword, because I just like in my travel and everything, I'm always about more bang for the buck, kill 7-8 birds with one stone kind of a philosophy here. So even if it's not just in the title, so this is part of that Maldives honeymoon launch strategy. Another part of that strategy is the launching for multiple keywords, but here's a way you can do it too. It's not just the same keywords in the title, but also related keywords that have a bridge. So another example is in Project X, Tim and I did a wooden egg tray. And so I might do at one time egg tray, wooden egg tray, but then using egg as the keyword. I might not have this in phrase form, but then I'll do egg holder, and then wooden egg holder, and then, hoping that there's connections that Amazon's algorithm is using to tie those two phrases together. Because the thing is, Amazon can see that listings that were on Amazon before me for egg tray, they were also performing for egg holder as well. And so if all of a sudden Amazon sees this activity, again, be it through PPC or whatever you're using, Facebook ads, Google ads, whatever you're using to get to page 1, that it's going to give you more bang for your buck. So I usually try and launch on 4 or 5 keywords at one time, but not just random, not like egg tray and then kitchen accessory and then bamboo wooden accessory. Like those all might be on their own relevant to my product, but I'm not going to get any benefit by trying to do all of those at once. I'm only going to do stuff I can somehow tie together with a seed keyword, or that I have actual data on that shows that Amazon knows that both words are equally important to a product in this niche. So again, egg tray, egg holder, wooden egg tray, all of those tie to my product. They all tie to each other. And then, so those are all ones I'm working on at the same time.
So we do something very similar. We call them keyword silos. So we'll take natural bully stick, organic bully stick, grass-fed bully stick. Again, using Helium 10, that's the tool I use. I'll go in there, I'll click on the advanced filter, I'll put natural, bully, because bully stick could either be bully, bullies, there's a variety of different spellings. But I'll run it and I'll get the report and I'll see the long tails. I'll see the different long tail keywords that are supporting that primary long tail. And now we have this group of keywords that not only can we use in our listing, but if we're doing any type of pre-launch content or press releases or anything like that, we can weave the different silo keywords together to mix them up. So what you're getting is this bouquet of keywords that are supporting exactly what you're talking about. But again, it's just different language. We just call ours silos.
I like it. I like it.
Thanks. Now, okay, so what's the next thing? You've done this, you've done your research. What's the next step?
Well, one of the things, and this isn't like required, but one of two things you got to do. So what I always do, and very few people can do this because they don't have a warehouse in the back of their house like I do, is I actually don't create my listings until day one of when I'm going to get sales. And the way I do that is I have all of my inventory shipped from China to my warehouse. And then I have my listing ready to go. Like, I make it in Helium 10 scribbles. So it's all, all my bullet points is ready. I don't actually put it on Amazon until I'm ready to send the product to Amazon and turn my fulfill by merchant listing on. And so that's what I do. So I can have sales within 24 hours of my listing going live. Now, people are like, what? I have no way of doing that. Don't worry. That doesn't mean you can't use the Maldives honeymoon strategy. The other way that works almost all the time as well is you put out, and the reason why people can't do that is they want to make their listing 2 months early so they can have their Chinese factory put the FN SKU barcode on the box, which if you do that, that is totally fine. Don't freak out that you have to stop doing that. Right? No, I even do that myself sometimes. So go ahead and, turn on the listing, but then, close it and set the launch date in the Amazon Seller Central for like when you think it'll be ready, like maybe two months, 2 months out into the future, and you'll have the same effect. So what happens is when I turn my listing on, I try and get sales either again from PPC, from, I use services like AZ Rank. No affiliation to Helium 10, but that's just who I use, in order to get my product to help get it to page one. But whatever the case is, within 24 hours of my listing going live, I try and get that first sale so that I'm like telling Amazon, hey, right out the gates, this product is a hot product, in the hopes, again, I don't have special insight into the inner workings of the Amazon algorithm. I just can use logic, and so it's in the hopes that it's going to send those signals to Amazon that, hey, we've got a hot product here, get it in front of more eyeballs. So that's another strategy that I use.
Okay, so getting that first sale is important. Are there any tools that you use? So close your ears, Bradley. I'm going to say something else. But okay, so one of the things that we can use, that I use, that I wish Helium 10 would build in, maybe we can get this built in one of these days, but it's something to tell you what keywords convert. Brand Analytics will tell you. Kevin King has come on and talked to us about this. But Seller Tools has a tool that very easily says, all right, take those keywords from your keyword silo, pump them in here, and we're going to tell you if the highest search volume, let's say it's natural bully sticks, has 5,000 launches, might only get 5 sales a day, where organic bully sticks might end up getting 19 sales a day. That's the one I should be really converting for. Do you have any tools like that or any suggestions on how to get that information?
Brand analytics is the way to go. But I'll tell you right now, there are some times where people say, hey, I wish you guys in the future would have Amazon Japan or something.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, yeah, one day we will. That's something I can assure you, unless Amazon changes policies, that we'll never do. Smaller companies or private companies, sure, I'm sure a lot of them, can make these kind of tools, but that's 100% against Amazon terms of service to provide that information to the public, because brand analytics data is when you're showing that exact data, it's only for sellers with brand registry. And Helium 10 obviously we're not gating our tool to people who have brand registry. So if we put that in our tools, a good 60% of our customers, or probably 70% of our customers or more, who don't have brand registry, we'd be showing brand registry data. And then guess what? Amazon could just come in and turn off our connection. And so we can never do that, but you can do that, like Kevin talks about, on your own, where you can make some calculations. But also, I love experimenting. So you have to be careful though, because it doesn't always work the formula, because I know exactly how people are doing that. So they look at the click share, they look at the purchase share, and they do some kind of calculations and try and see how many units are being sold. But what happens is those formulas don't always work, because they come out so even, a number so even. It could be 10, it could be 100, it could be 1,000, it could be 5, it could be 15, it could be 25, based on those percentages. So whatever your own formula, or if you're using a tool, you got to kind of take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, because it doesn't always work, and it's just an estimation at times. You could be thinking it's 5, but it's really a multiple of 5, like 215 or something like that, and you would have no idea, because you're just looking at a number. But for me, it's I have been fine not doing that. And so I wanted to, even though I knew Helium 10 would never come up with something like that, due to terms of service, I tried to develop something like that on my own, just using advanced formulas in Excel and everything. And that was the roadblock that I came up on, where that it's not an exact science. So I've never used that, but I've never had trouble. So all of you guys out there, if you're worried, like, I don't know how to develop this thing in my, I can look at brand analytics, but I don't know how to multiple, or how to determine what percentage here means this many sales. Don't worry. Like, if you're using that, if you found something that works for you, great. But if you can't figure that out, please don't think that you're leaving money on the table or anything, because I haven't used that technique, and I'm fine.
Very good. If you're fine, I'm fine. Okay, before we go any further, just wanted to remind everybody that if you wanted to enter into the Wheel of Kelsey today, Bradley's offering 30 minutes of his time to go through anything that you want to talk about. It's an AMA, Ask Me Anything. And so just enter hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, or tag 2 people either on the in the chat or outside the chat. Let's talk about the next step. So you've gone through, you've put that keyword, you found that keyword in the title like you described, you've got your first sale. What else can you do to optimize this listing now?
Well, one important thing that I think sometimes sellers, forget, is that it's not just a numbers game. And we've been talking about a lot of numbers and, search volume and brand analytics and things. But the biggest, like, advice I guess I could give people out there is, don't just drown yourselves in these numbers. They're important, but only to a certain point. At the end of the day, your buyer is not examining what your click share is on brand analytics in order to determine to buy your product. Your buyer is not looking at the search volume or a Helium 10 IQ score in order to know if they want to buy your product. They're looking at, like, does this product fit my needs? So it's like, yes, everybody out there, definitely put some importance onto the Amazon algorithm and things like that. But don't forget about the person who's buying your product at the end of the day. You've got to make sure this keyword is even relevant to your listing. You've got to make sure that your images are optimized. And these things might sound like no-brainers, but you'd be shocked how many sellers, even advanced sellers, they get so caught up in these other metrics that they forget who's paying the bills at the end of the day. So, one thing that Tomer from Israel, another one of our mutual friends, talks about a lot is analyzing the niche theme. All right. So we want to kind of differentiate our product, sure, but we don't want to differentiate it to the point of where we're trying to reinvent the wheel of what's been already proven to work. So using the egg tray example, like, let's say now there's a lot of wooden egg trays. When we did Project X, nobody had wooden egg trays. Now everybody does. But what I would do if I was coming into the egg tray, which I wouldn't be now, because since it's kind of saturated, is I would look at page 1 and then, take a look at which of these egg trays is really performing well. And then I'm going to try and take aspects. Usually you're going to see a theme of what's working as far as the images goes, bullet points, length of title, things like that. And for example, you look at another example I use, collagen peptides. Everybody has got these like 175 plus character long titles. You go to accordion, the actual musical instrument, not a file accordion, but that everybody's got like, 50 to 75 long. So take a look. Is there a similar theme in your niche? And so what somebody might say is, hey, I'm going to go in the accordion category, and I'm going to differentiate myself by doing 175 character long title instead of 50. And then that's what's going to make me stand out. Usually you might be shooting yourself in the foot. if there's something that's proven to work in a theme, don't deviate from that. It must be that, hey, maybe the buyers in the accordion theme, they're like, I just want a short and to the point title. And what is this keyword stuff title? On the opposite side, the collagen peptides, people are like, wait, collagen peptides for men, is that if that's my title, that doesn't really tell me anything. I need to know if it's hydrolyzed. I need to know if it's the category 4, like I want to see this in the title. So look what the top selling competitors are doing, and then don't copy it, but just try not to deviate too much. All right. Another example is with the main image. Like if there's a certain angle that really highlights, or a certain thing that really highlights that the main product, don't go and do something completely different to just differentiate yourself. Sure, differentiate yourself, try and add upon whatever's working, maybe make a slightly different angle or something. But if something is proven to work and these sellers are making sales, don't go too much that is going to maybe turn off your buyers. And bullet points, same thing. What works for the bullet points, what works for the secondary images. I love the way Tomer teaches it, is when he actually goes into a new niche, he has this system that he uses where he's taking these different aspects and he puts it all into like either Google Sheets or Google Slides or PowerPoint, and he lays it all out. And when you lay it all out, you'll start to see these themes like, look at this. Everybody definitely in this niche has an infographic that talks about the size. All right, you know what? I need to make an infographic that talks about the size. And hey, look, everybody in their first or second bullet point, they're using this one keyword. I mean, he goes really deep into it. So you don't have to go so deep, guys, but just make sure that you are taking your top 4 or 5 competitors, the ones who have been on Amazon and they're proven to work, and try and reverse engineer on the listing optimization side what they're doing. Differentiate yourself a little bit, but don't go so far different that you're trying to reinvent the wheel and put yourself up for potential failure.
Okay, that's great. Now, I did have that question about bullet points, because you talk about, I can see that absolutely working with titles, but with bullet points right now, would you do exactly the same if you're having somebody that's running, 400 characters? Would you look at that? Would you look at making it shorter? Just because of mobile optimization, like you might be listening to what you're saying, you might go and take that 550 character bullet point, turn it into 160 character and shoot yourself in the foot, unless there's a reason for it. And that's, for me, it would be mobile optimization. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, because sometimes the reason why a bunch of sellers who are doing well in a niche are doing well is because, like, let's say it's one of those categories or subcategories where Amazon allows 11 bullet points to show. There are some categories like that. Well, guess what? 400 characters for each bullet point is probably not going to do well. Amazon's going to truncate or take away all those on a mobile or even on a desktop. I mean, Amazon takes away bullet points on desktop now, especially when there's like 8 or 9 or 10 bullet points. Or it could be where there's only like 5 bullet points allowed, and Amazon actually shows it both on mobile and desktop. Well, hey, if they're going to show it no matter what, then yeah, go ahead and put longer bullet points. Or maybe it's something like collagen peptides that requires a lot of scientific terms and you need to do it. Or it could be something that's so like, coffin shelf. There's only so many ways you can talk about a coffin shelf and keep somebody engaged. Maybe there's a lot of keywords, but why make 2,000 characters worth of bullet points, if you even could, for a coffin shelf? I mean, nobody's going to sit there and read all of those, because there's only, like, all right, how big is it? What color is it? Is it shaped like a coffin? I mean, what else do I need to know about this coffin shelf? So there's another point where again, it goes back to my thing about not worrying so much about the Amazon algorithm and remembering the buyer. Sure, maybe we've got some extra keywords that we need to stuff into our listing, but if we know our buyer is not going to read it, then what purpose does it serve? So yeah, all of those points are absolutely valid and important.
Is there anything that you're doing differently in the back end of your product now, in your product listing?
I'm not sure about differently, but that goes against popular belief is to this day I still will duplicate things. in the back end that I already have in the front end, even though Amazon in some places says that, hey, you don't need to put this. This is already in the front end of your listing. I mean, I've done a lot. Again, I do tons and tons of tests where I'll figure out if things have an impact, and it still works. Where like let's say I've got egg trade my title. Well, Amazon their front end will tell you, like, if you use, especially if you use brand analytics, there's a thing that you can use for the search terms optimization, which, by the way, there's a tip, guys. Normally you only get 249 characters in your back-end search terms, but if you use that brand registry section for optimizing your search terms, it does not use the spaces in order to count your characters. So you can usually get up to like 280, 290, sometimes up to 300 characters in there, which for some people that's valuable real estate. You can actually do that by using there. But if you use that, it'll actually tell you, it won't like penalize it'll just tell you, hey, here's a warning. You already got that search term in the front end. Like, you're dumb basically for putting it in the back end. I still do, because I've done tests where if I just have it in my title or I just have it in my bullet points, and let's just say I'm not ranked at all, like what I'll do just to test, I'll throw that same keyword in the search terms, and usually within a day or two, as long as it's not something that a billion people were indexed for, I will see my listing go from not ranked to like 280 or 250. Again, that doesn't mean any sales for me, but it just shows me that the Amazon algorithm actually still does kind of like put some relevancy if you have a main keyword that's duplicated from the front end into the back end. So regardless of Amazon telling you that it doesn't, like, I found that it still does work. So I'll do that. I'll put Spanish keywords sometimes in the back, like I think everybody does. A newer thing I'm doing now is I'm finding, through Helium 10, that there's other language keywords that are starting to get some traction. I've been finding some Korean keywords, not with Roman letters, but actually Korean Hangul, the Korean characters. You'll actually see some of those come up in brand analytics if you're using that, or in Helium 10, because we store all the keywords that we show have search volume. And so I'm not going to put a Korean word in the front end, because that might confuse people. There's a glitch with their listing or something. But I put those in the back end just to make sure, double sure I get indexed. So that there's something I probably hadn't done before 8 months ago that I'm starting to do.
I got to tell you this story about buying a keyword, soap, in a different language. So I did it in Japanese. And so I got my domain, and I thought, oh, wow, this is great. I'm going to start marketing in Japan. Well, I didn't know that the word that I got, soap, it sounds innocent enough, was a word, or the characters that I got meant brothel. And so it was the brothel club. Now you get lots of traffic that way, but I'm trying to sell soap. But, just going back to understanding, culture and language. But one other thing about indexing, we had Stephen Pope on the other day, and he said he's done a lot of indexing or a lot of testing with A+ pages. And even though Amazon says they're not ranking, they're ranking. Have you experienced that? Or not ranking, indexing.
What do you mean when you say Amazon?
Amazon A9 is indexing the A+ pages.
Oh, no, I mean, the last time I tested was like 3 months ago, and it's still not. Now, what has always indexed in A+ content, as far as I know, as my tests go, when I put alt characters in my images and stuff, those always have indexed. But I'll have to do another test. Like, maybe there's something in the last, like, I don't know, probably like 4 or 5 months ago, the last time I tested it, where I put something that was, I took a relevant term out of my listing, and then I first determined I was not indexed. I was de-indexed for it, because sometimes you can take a keyword out of your listing and you'll still stay indexed. Like if you have so much activity on it from before, that Amazon will still go ahead and index you. But I took one out. I confirmed that I de-indexed. Then I put it into the A+ content, waited a day, and it still wasn't indexed. Now, I haven't done that test in about 4 or 5 months, but if somebody's saying that something in their A+ description is now indexing, I definitely need to test that out.
Yeah, and he was also saying that using the alt as well is indexing. So I'm glad you confirmed
that. Yeah, that for sure. I tested and definitely works.
Yeah. Okay. So last thing before we get to some questions, PPC, are you doing anything on a launch differently than you were doing in the past?
I just do a little bit higher budgets because part of this, one thing I notice, at least in mine, I'm not sure. I don't know. I've only tested this like, 15, 20 times. So I can't really say it's, for the entire world because I'm only launching in a couple categories, is in that honeymoon period, I also seem to get just tons more impressions and a big wider coverage than I normally would get, like with a 6 to 8 month old listing or more. And so because of that, just my personal philosophy is that, hey, I'm going to go, if my normal budget per campaign is going to be like, $10 or $20, I'm usually going like 3x that in the beginning just to get a wider coverage. Now, with that, you are just going to get a bunch of potentially irrelevant terms. So you got to kind of like watch it a little bit more just to start negative matching stuff that is garbage, for your, as far as relevancy to your listing. So you got to stay on top of that. But yeah, I'm willing to lose money in the beginning to take advantage of all the impressions that Amazon is giving me as a newer seller. So another thing that with Atomic, which is Helium 10's PPC tool that we didn't have back in the old days, was the ability to tie in like sponsored brand and sponsored display into like one flow. So the way I have it set up, and this was because of the Press-Is-On integration that we had, was that I have my product targeting my product targeting campaign, my exact manual campaign keyword targeting. I have a broad campaign. I've got an auto campaign. I've got a sponsored display, and then potentially a sponsored brand if it's brand registry, all like in one flow. So that, like, let's say my sponsored display, or let's say my auto campaign starts really generating some traction with an ASIN target, and I get like a couple of conversions. Well, instead of just throwing that into my product targeting campaign, I'm also going ahead and throwing that into my sponsored display automatically because, hey, I want to get all the placements. I want it to show up on the product page. I want it to show up in that sponsored display. I want to go ahead and, have it in my sponsored brand targeting as well. So I try and piggyback off the success of my other campaigns and keep it all into one flow.
Very good. Okay, I think that is it. Let's get into some questions.
Let's do it.
Okay, great. Also, to the audience listening, how have your product launches gone in the past? Have there been any mistakes that you guys experienced? Is there anything that you think a new seller could learn from? Put that over in the comment section, and yeah, we'd be interested to see what you guys experience as sellers.
Man,
but,
Kelsey,
yes.
you're on the ball today. Holy
Oh,
geez.
Thank you. Yeah, it's Friday. Yeah, loving it. All right, from Simon, do you make titles, bullets, and backend for all child variants the same, or do you mix it up?
That's a great question. I get all the time. So it depends. There are some times where you're in a niche where there are so many keywords because it's a competitive one. There are so many different keywords that can describe your product that you literally don't have the space to optimize your listing for all of them. Collagen peptides could be one of those because there's tons of keywords that can describe that. And so what I end up doing, yes, if I find myself not able to have everything in one, I'll take advantage of the fact that the other child items can index me for other keywords I might not have in another one. And yes, I will do that. But for the most part, like for Project X as an example, wooden egg tray, I actually do now have variations for. There's a 12 egg tray, there's a 18 egg tray. The keywords are almost identical other than the descriptors because there's just not that many ways that you can describe an egg tray, or I don't need to be indexed for any more spaces that Amazon can give me. Coffin shelf, same thing. So it kind of depends on the niche that I'm in. Highly competitive, yes, I will use different keywords at times in the child items. If it's a smaller niche, no, it's almost the same across the board.
What about the title? So you talked about having the egg tray. Mm-hmm. Would you have a egg holder as the keyword phrase in one of the variations?
It depends. It depends if like it has if both egg tray and egg holder are like the two top most relevant, I'm going to have both of those. Those are 2-word things. I can easily put those in my title, and I want both to have, equal footing out there. But if there's like, 7 or 8 like that are all like really high search volume and all relevant, I could perhaps, do some experiments to have a launch on one variation for the one keyword and another variation for the other keyword, even though both are probably going to be indexed for it anyways, and to try and help. But none of the products I've been launching like really needed that. So I personally haven't done that.
All right.
Hey, from Manny, if I once hot index for a keyword and I want after 60 days to get indexed for more, how do I do this?
What's hot index compared to cold indexed, or is that a norm, a normism there?
I don't know.
It might be
Okay.
a spelling. Okay, Manny, if you could just clarify what you mean by hot index.
Yeah.
And we'll take another question. From Wasim, what do you say as the product collection and store spotlight? Very strong for the traffic and conversion. Should we go with the long tail?
Product collection and store spotlight, very strong for the traffic and conversion. Should we go with long tail? Like if he means like if it's very high competition, if that's what he means, a lot of people have that question where it's like, hey, I know what my main keyword is, but this is just too much competition. I can't afford PPC or whatever. I can't afford to really compete there. Should I go for the the longer tail ones at first? And the answer is yes. Until you can build up the reviews or until you can build up your capital that you have enough to invest to get there, I absolutely do go after the long tail instead of the main ones.
Okay, great. From Rana, is 30% sales from PPC at 10% less of your break-even point? Is it okay?
That's a very wide open question. I think it depends on first of all your budget and obviously your what your profit margin is. But if 10% is your break even, I'm looking at my tacos, my total ACOS. All right, because there could be times where the answer is yes, the answer is no. Like if some people are worried, like, oh my goodness, half of my orders are coming from PPC, like I'm a complete failure. But at the end of the day, if your tacos is good and you're still profitable, across the board, then I don't care how many orders come from PPC. If I'm profitable, at the end of the day, profit is what matters. So make sure that your total ACOS, and if you're under your break even point there, then I'd say go for it.
Okay, this is from Tyler. What does your initial Amazon product launch look like? Do you run Amazon PPC, rebate giveaways, drive external traffic like influencers, drive external paid traffic like Google ads?
Yeah, so all of those we mentioned today, I personally, just because I don't have enough time to really focus on this, what I do is just the first two, PPC, and then having people do search, find, buy, because that doesn't take much time at all for me to do. But I know everybody uses, or other people use influencer traffic. They use press releases. Obviously, we got somebody here who knows a thing or two about that. They use external paid traffic. They use special Google links. Like Casey Goss does a really cool presentation on that. So I just personally use the first two, but I absolutely see the benefit in using all of them. And if I wasn't working full time for Helium 10 and just doing this Amazon thing in my spare time, I probably would be using all of those.
And interesting enough, just doing those two things, you're doing fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. Maybe I'm leaving a couple dollars on the table, here or there, but yeah, like I'm still fine.
Okay, so we're getting to the top of the hour here. Maybe we can just do a couple more, but then we'll go over to the wheel. Okay,
it looks like
Simon.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. From Simon, if you mess up the launch honeymoon, can you recover, and can you take this to get it to a happy place?
Yeah, sure. If you miss the window or something, it's not the end of the day. Actually, the interesting thing about this, some of the things we talk about in the Maldives honeymoon launch strategy, it actually works on even older listings, like relaunching. Like I was out of stock of that egg tray for like 3 months due to some personal mismanagement there of that account. And that was when the listing was like a year old. I went in there and like, hey, I put the keyword in the title that I wanted to launch for, and then I did all the same things, and it didn't work as effectively, but it still worked. So don't think that just because you missed the window there that you have to start over from scratch. Nah, you should be good to go.
Good.
Okay, and we'll just do one more. We'll Manny reached out to us and he said, if I once got indexed for a keyword and I won after
got
6
indexed.
days
Okay,
to get indexed for more,
changes
how do
it.
I do this?
Yeah, so sometimes you can get indexed for even more keywords that aren't in your listing by running heavy auto and broad campaigns. And Amazon is going to show you for a bunch of keywords that you're not even indexed for, just because that's Amazon's prerogative. I wish we had the power to do that. But if you start converting, and sometimes it only takes 1, 2, 3 conversions for one of those keywords from an auto campaign, you'll get indexed for it, and you don't even have the word in your listing. So that's one way to do it. Another way is just, rotate, like if you're indexed completely, test it by taking out a keyword. But, if it's just like one of those, minor ones, test to make sure that you're still indexed for it, because that means you probably got some conversions in PPC, and then you can replace it. I rarely, if ever, do that. I usually use the first method of just trying to invest heavily in my auto and broad campaign so that Amazon will show me and I can get conversions for it.
Very good.
Okay, so do you want to move to the wheel, Norm?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, and just to let everyone know, if we didn't get to your questions, feel free to post it into our Facebook group. We've got a great community, a lot of experts in there, and I'm sure someone would be able to help you out and give you an opinion on your listing. But okay, it's time for the wheel. Bradley, get ready. It could be a little loud sometimes, so here we go.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right.
All
Wow,
right.
we got a lot of people.
So I'm just gonna shuffle these up quickly. And thank you everyone who entered. If you are the winner, please email me at k@lunchwithnorm.com. Especially YouTubers, I can't reach out to you. You have to reach out to me, or I can't connect you. So k@lunchwithnorm.com, and here we go. Wheel of Kelsey.
You got to get that song down.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Who is it? Oh,
Brian.
all right, Brian. Congrats.
Okay.
So start making that
Brian.
list of questions for Bradley.
Yeah. So Brian, just email me k@lunchwithnorm.com, and we'll get you connected with Bradley. Congratulations.
All right,
Awesome,
Bradley.
awesome.
This has been a super session. I hope we can get you back to talk more about whatever you're doing. Maybe it's the Bahamas, not the Maldives this time, or I don't know what you're going to be working on.
The Bora Bora listing optimization.
Yeah,
how
there
many
you
different
go.
ways can I come up with something for
That's
the
right.
Bali title technique?
There you go. But anyways, I really appreciate you coming on. I know you got a busy day, and you're awesome. So thank you again for coming on, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. All right. So I think that was an awesome episode. I might be a little bit biased, but anyways, I think that was awesome. And thank you again, Bradley, for coming on. We have on Monday a really great guest, a guy that knows a lot about Amazon, Jamie Davidson. He's from Amazon or AMZ Insiders. Now, we've got a couple of different topics we're going to be talking about, so tune in on Monday to hear all about it. Anyways, a big thank you to our sponsor, Global Wired Advisors, a leading digital investment bank focused on optimizing the business sales process. For more information, please call Chris and his team over at globalwiredadvisors.com. All right, Kels, where are you?
I'm here.
Good.
Thank you so much, everyone who turned out today. We had a huge crowd, so really awesome. And any of our new listeners, I see a bunch in the comment sections. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're looking on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, we're everywhere pretty much. And you can also find the recordings on our website as well. That's lunchwithnorm.com. And we have all the recordings there. So yes, thank you, Simon, Manny, Jennifer, Jessica Rabbit Shaw, so many people. We really love to see the community here, or our Beard Nation, as we like to call it. And if you're interested in joining our community, if you love today's show, you can go over to our Facebook group. That's Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and eCommerce Collective. That is our main group, and that's where you can ask those questions that you have about your Amazon listing. And if you want a little extra beard, as we like to say here, you can join our membership program. That is our Patreon. It's a very tight-knit group. We do guest lessons. We've had Michael Kurtz, Ben Leonard, Apalabi, and we've got plenty more plans. We also do small group sessions with Norm and I, where we answer your questions a couple times a month. So there's a bunch of different options. You can get some stickers, an official mug, a bunch of fun stuff there. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, I think that's it.
Are you gonna let me do my job?
Go ahead.
All right. You did a very there. I see.
2 claps.
I didn't.
Wow.
I didn't cut you up. I said you did a good job. All right.
Thank you.
So join us every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of this community. We really couldn't do this without you. And enjoy your weekend.
Lunch with the